Good morning, everybody. We are here today with our Your Speaking Matters hosted by Rick and Carol Derling. Your Speaking Matters is focused on demonstrating skills and techniques to help you transform your fear of public speaking into a skill set that opens doors to new opportunities. Each episode of this podcast unravels the secrets of effective communication through engaging conversations and expert tips. In this episode, we are going to be speaking with Tom Zwolinski. Tom is Toastmasters District 28 Division E Area 4 Director. He is also a member of the Macomb Motivators Toastmasters Club in Macomb Township, Michigan. Tom is a distinguished Toastmaster and is recognized as such by the Toastmasters organization, and that means he has speaking skills he has learned as a Toastmasters member, and he has mastered many of them. Today we are going to talk with Tom. Welcome, Tom. How are you this fine morning?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Rick and Carol, for inviting me to talk with you today. Appreciate it.
Can you, Tom, will you share just a little bit about your background and what motivated you to join Toastmasters?
Thank you, Rick. Well, I've been a Toastmaster for 10 years. At the time I joined Toastmasters, I worked for a bank, and the bank was forming a new club there. I was already a seasoned professional with over 30 years of experience in IT. And I was used to giving presentations to management. However, I saw that there was something lacking in my presentations. I watched some of my peers as they presented to management on some of our projects, and I could see that they were able to resonate more with management about the benefits of what they were doing. I was a very technical person, so I was very good at giving the details. But when it came to hitting those sweet spots that the management was looking for, I knew I was kind of lacking with that. So I decided to join Toastmasters. Our club formed, and I started to deliver some speeches, and I realized that I did see some improvement in my presentation skills because I knew that some of what I was lacking was my delivery of my speech, and was able to provide some humor and some other things into my speech that would captivate the people that I was talking to. But probably the thing I didn't expect that I got from it was the impromptu speaking. When management would ask me a question and I didn't quite know how to answer it, I got much, much better at that as I did more with my Toastmasters club and learned how to think on my speech, on my feet. And I thought that was a very, very important skill that I picked up with Toastmasters that helped me an awful lot. So that's a little bit of background on me. I am now retired, but continuing on with Toastmasters to kind of pay back a little bit of what I got from my benefit working with Toastmasters.
Well, I know a little bit more about you, and that you actually were one of the founding members of Macomb Motivators, the club that you are currently a member of. Do you want to say anything about Macomb Motivators briefly?
Sure. Yeah, at the time I retired from my full-time job, I was looking for a club, and I discovered Macomb Motivators. Rick and Carol, I knew of you from my time with my corporate club. So I found out that you were trying to form Macomb Motivators Toastmasters. So I noticed that you were meeting at a dealership, and I belonged to a Catholic church, and I said, oh, you know what, here's an opportunity for you. Would you be interested in having your meetings at the church? And I can talk to the pastor, which I did, and he was very supportive of us because he thought that's a great thing for members of the church too, particularly our lectors and people like that that are learning how to speak in front of people, that having a club there would be an excellent opportunity for them. So the pastor of St. Isidore Church has been very, very supportive of our club, and we're now, going on 7 years as a club.
Wow. I don't think I remembered that. And I'm going to pause here for a moment to give a shout out to Father Ron. He's been absolutely awesome as a Toastmasters friend and giving you space to actually continue to operate that club. That is awesome.
7 years, time flies.
It absolutely does.
Sure does. Yeah.
So Tom, you mentioned, I'd like to dive into your role as an area director, and I want to say thank you for taking on the role, because obviously Toastmasters is largely a volunteer organization, and as such, we have to just operate with whoever is willing to step up to fill a role. And you've definitely filled a role that is very key in supporting the clubs, including Confident Communicators and the co-motivators and others that I can name. So as an area director, what stands out about Area 4 to you?
Well, I would say that we have at least a few strong clubs, and that goes a long way to helping me be successful. Confident Communicators is one of them, the one that you belong to. My home club, Macomb Motivators, has been going very strong. And Northern is another one that's been around an awful long time. So I am fortunate that we have some seasoned Toastmasters mixed in with new members that helps make those clubs strong. And I'm very, very pleased at some of the events that we've done recently. So Confident Communicators just recently had an event on podcast, which I thought was excellent, well attended and very professionally done. My home club had a murder mystery open house. We always celebrate Halloween, and we wanted to do something different.
That was
this
a
year.
lot of fun.
So we did that, and we had an awful lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, and I'm going to mention Northern. How long has that one member been in Toastmasters? Like 50 years now?
We have, Sam, who's been a member for 50 years in Toastmasters. So we celebrated his 50th anniversary at one of their meetings. It was great to hear some of his perspective over the years of how Toastmasters has transformed from when he joined.
I think that's one of the values of Toastmasters, is that there are those of us who stick with it for a variety of reasons, and he's definitely that type of a person where we just stay with the whole program as much as anything to continue learning, because there's always opportunity to learn. But equally important in my mind is helping others gain the confidence and skills that you can get by being in a Toastmasters club. That is absolutely amazing to me that he's been around for 50 years. It's almost longer than I've been alive.
You wish. You wish.
I'm older than dirt, so let's just get over that.
I'm not far behind you.
Well, it's fun to be there, isn't it? I mean, after all these time, we've got some experience. So again, as an area director, your role is to support clubs and members. What do you see as your most important club and member support activities?
Well, there's a few of those. Probably as I become area director, the first thing is try to get clubs off on the right foot. So, this year, club success plans became mandatory for clubs. In the past, it was kind of if they wanted to do that. But there's a lot of importance to those that I see, and I try to convey that to the clubs because I see that as the blueprint for the club. How are they going to operate this year? What are the challenges that they have to meet? And it's a good way for the officers to understand the importance of their role. What are their goals for the year? What are the officers going to contribute to the club? So it starts with that. And to support them, we have what's called the Toastmasters Leadership Institute. So that's the training for officers. Now, the needs vary by club. Some clubs are seasoned, like I talked about earlier, but some of them are new. They have all new members. They know nothing about being a club officer. So I go into them differently. My approach is a little different, trying to give them a little bit of background and give them a little idea of what's in it for them to get through the training to help them become better at their job as club officer. So I think training is an important part of it. Each club is unique in its needs. I've visited some clubs that are just challenged with having a meeting place. So I've given them suggestions on maybe here's some places that you could get that you could have some permanent meeting places. And then probably supporting the club. So some of the more seasoned clubs, as I mentioned, have events. Make sure we support them. Make sure we get the word out on their events so that they get the attendance they need. And probably lastly, membership. Especially renewal time can be a very big challenge for clubs. So supporting them to get the word out, get their members to renew, because that can be a big challenge. How do you go about contacting members that haven't been at a meeting for a while? And there's various reasons why that is, but just those kinds of things to support them. And lastly, just being a disseminator of information. People in clubs don't know what's going on outside of their club, what's going on in the district. So bringing information back to the clubs about what's going on in the district and communicating concerns that the clubs have back to the district. That's a two-way method of communication that I provide as a liaison for the clubs.
You got a heck of a role, and again, I really do appreciate that you've taken on that aspect of being a volunteer and really helping clubs out. You've certainly helped Confident Communicators. Your participation here is a great example. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, you face challenges as an area director. What kind of challenges do you face, and how do you address them?
Okay. One that automatically comes to mind is the Pathways Education Program. As you know, it is constantly changing. And it's very hard for members to kind of keep up with what's going on with Pathways. So again, trying to disseminate the information about, hey, updates to Pathways, how do you navigate Pathways, particularly for new members, it can be a challenge for them. And I invite them to come to our TLIs because they do oftentimes cover that. But I'll go the next step. I'll bring Pathways information back to them. I have plans on a couple of my clubs to bring a seasoned person that can talk about Pathways to them and answer their questions and concerns, because there are many. And I think it's important that we show the clubs that we're supportive of their journey going through Pathways. And another thing I encourage clubs to do that can do that is to provide mentorship for their members as well when they come on board. So particularly clubs that have seasoned members, they can provide mentorship to their new people coming in.
I would like to just do a small plug for Pathways and the overall learning experience in Toastmasters, if I may. From my perspective, it's a combination of Pathways, which, as you mentioned, is something that gets updated on a regular basis. And Pathways does provide our members with a powerful set of knowledge and experiences, from reading materials to suggestions to videos showing how to. And reading through those projects within Pathways leads directly to the club experience, where you actually get an opportunity to practice a speech, take that speech and get feedback from experienced members, or even from just people that are there. And that, in that process of constant feedback, constant learning, is how everybody that I know in Toastmasters has developed really, really strong speaking skills. So a shout out to Pathways as well, if I may.
And you're right, at the TLI coming up on the November 22nd, we are doing a 2-hour demonstration of Pathways.
Yep.
For anybody to see it, so.
Yep.
Which is
Yep,
hybrid.
I'm encouraging my clubs to attend. So, yep.
Yeah.
So we've still got a little bit of time. Another question I wanted to offer to you is just, would you recommend members jump on the volunteer train and take on a district role? What are your thoughts?
Well, some of our members are looking for leadership opportunities. Maybe they're trying to pursue some kind of a leadership role in their job. And I think Toastmasters is an excellent way for them to get their feet wet with leadership. They have the opportunity to do things within their own club. I encourage them to take on club officer roles to begin with. And that helps them grow and become comfortable in those leadership type of roles beyond the club, doing exactly what I'm doing right now, becoming an area director, because you get to see what other clubs are doing, a chance to network. Networking is another important part of it. And then as you become a seasoned Toastmaster, there's the aspect of mentorship. Now, within the club, many people take the opportunity to mentor individuals, but how about mentoring a club? Now, there's a role called a club mentor that's geared to mentoring newly formed clubs. But even as an area director, I see myself as a mentor, mentoring clubs on how to become more effective, How do they come over some of the hurdles that they have, challenges with maybe members not attending meetings, learning how to motivate people to proceed along in their speeches and pathways. There's a number of things as a mentor that I can make suggestions to clubs. And again, I use the word suggestions because I never tell a club how to run. That's a cardinal sin. The main thing is you want to show that you're supportive, give them suggestions, and they can take them and do with them what they will. But that's a good way that I can impart some of my knowledge and experience to help clubs grow and become, remain viable.
Again, I think it's really commendable, anybody taking on a volunteer role, but the benefit I feel is very strong, is you get to actually operate and develop leadership skills in the process. Briefly, what are the requirements for being considered for a district leadership role?
Okay, so for an area director is actually an appointed role. So the district director typically appoints area directors, but here there is a strong suggestion that before you become an area director, that you've at least done 1 or 2 club officer roles so that you get the opportunity to experience some kind of a leadership role within Toastmasters. And oftentimes I suggest that people even consider becoming a club president before they become an area director. Because a club president, I call the club president the leader of the orchestra. They're not so much the doer. They're the ones that kind of orchestrate what's being done in the club and help support all the other roles. I actually did a presentation of that one time, and I started out with a nice little picture of the band leader. They're leading the band. So.
Well, I'm gonna throw indicate that that a really good answer. And the last thing, I think we're going to run out of time here, is are there any other remarks you'd like to make regarding being part of the Toastmasters family?
Yeah, so I talked earlier about your evolution, your journey as a Toastmaster, from initially just getting comfortable with doing public speaking and then getting into the leadership realm of it. Because again, Toastmasters is a twofold journey. There's communication and there's leadership. And don't discount the second part of it, because leadership is a very important part. And I think as we go along and become seasoned as Toastmasters, we want to give back. So that's why I'm still doing this. I'm retired. I could easily say, I've done everything I need to do with Toastmasters. I don't need to belong anymore. But something in me says, okay, I've learned all these things and I see these new people coming in. How do I bring them along? How do I mentor them to become, seasoned speakers and become better leaders? And so that's what I think Toastmasters allows you to do to reach that other level. And I look at a lot of people that have been Toastmasters for a long time, like Sam, who's been 50 years, and saying, well, okay, what's keeping him going? And that's basically sharing what he knows, his experience, and getting the pleasure of interacting with those people, no matter what level they come in at, whether they're intro or even if they are some of their fellow peers that are seasoned. So Toastmaster can be something that you can belong as long as you want to. And I think there's a lot of benefit from doing that. Just networking with people is just an excellent benefit. And we have fun. I think we showed it at our last meeting. We can have fun too doing this.
Oh, definitely. I think that's one of the key strengths of a Toastmasters Club, is when you can have fun. When my wife, Carol, who is the co-host, insists that I take care of some aspect of Toastmasters, I pay attention. But it's all in fun, and she's always having fun. And the two of us enjoy the whole experience. All right, Tom. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time. I really do want to thank you. No, I don't want to really thank you. I sincerely thank you for participating in today's podcast. I wish you the best in your Toastmasters journey, and I'm looking forward to encountering you, which we do quite frequently in the coming days and weeks and years. Very much appreciate your participation this morning. I'm going to do a closeout here real quick. I want to give a shout out to Barb and Chris Gully, who run Barb's Tea Service podcast. It's an absolutely entertaining podcast about tea, and they are the individuals who encouraged me to really give a try at podcasting. And so far, I can tell you that this whole podcasting experience has absolutely been a blast. I'm looking forward to doing more of these. So once again, I wish you the best, Tom. Thank you for being here, and here comes that music at the end of our event.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, Tom.
Good seeing you as well.